as Shamburaj Desai. What's important to point out here is that if at all a whip is basically issued by the Shiva Sena, how exactly would that be dodged? In fact, sources essentially indicating that this is not going to have any sort of impact because the MLAs cannot be disqualified is what we are being told. In fact, Aishwarya is also getting us some more details. The speaker is likely to be appointed. That's what we are being told by our sources. Aishwarya, just take us through the details that you're picking up.
Well, at this point of time, Shravan, there are three major breaking news coming in. That first and foremost within the next 48 hours. Because the information which you also gathered that the MLAs could move in from Guwahati to Mumbai till Wednesday. So we are being told that within 48 hours, the governor, Bhagat Singh Koshari, who is out of COVID now, can now appoint a pro tem speaker. And to appoint a pro tem speaker, you do not need to call a session. So first, a speaker will be appointed. That's what we are being confirmed by our sources. And as soon as that happens, then the governor is going to call for a session. And the call for a session could happen before the first Saturday of the coming week. That is the 9th. That is what we are being told is the maximum timeline which the governor can ask for calling a session. And as soon as the session is called, then it's all a numbers game. And then it's open that who has the numbers. But for that, we are being told that first is first, the speaker has to be appointed. And for the speaker, the governor can directly also appoint a pro tem speaker. This is because there are two ways. First is the governor can appoint a pro tem speaker for which a session may or may not be called. And the second is that there can be a vote on the appointment of speaker for which all the MLAs would have to be present and on the floor. And for that, we were being told that the Eknath Shinde faction can basically abstain as well. So now what we are being told that the governor can appoint a pro tem speaker within the next 48 hours in itself is going to be massive. And then within the next 48 hours, as soon as that is done, then a call for a session can be made. And as soon as that is done, Shravan, then it is all a numbers game on the floor of the House. So first and foremost, governor to appoint a pro tem speaker within the next 48 hours, and that in itself will get the ball or set the ball rolling. As soon as that is done, then the governor will call for the session. And as soon as the session is called, and we are being told that maximum the first weekend of the coming month, that is the 9th. That is the 9th of the next month. Prior to that, the governor will call out for a fresh session of the Maharashtra Assembly. And as soon as that is done, then it will be a numbers game where BJP and then the Shinde faction will come together. And at the end of the day, Uddhav Thackeray government will fall at the end of the day, because if you go by the numbers as it's being claimed by Eknath Shinde. But first come first, it is the appointment of the speaker, which in itself will sort out a lot of things. And we are being told that could happen within the next 48 hours, Shravan. And as soon as that is done, then before the 9th, which is the first Saturday of the coming month, we can have a fresh session of the Maharashtra Assembly being called in by the governor of Maharashtra, Bhagat Singh Koshari. Shravan.
Well, in fact, Aishwarya, I'll request you to stay on with us. We're getting in some more breaking news right now. In fact, Alicia joining us outside former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis's residence right now. Hectic negotiations also going on inside the BJP camp right now. We've seen some of the top leaders going inside the Sagar Bungalow in Mumbai. Alicia, with regards to the developments that are taking place right now, whether at all there is going to be a floor test that's going to take place, in all likelihood, as Aishwarya is pointing out, a pro tem speaker could be appointed in the next 48 hours. Also, what falls in line is that there is a high possibility that all the MLAs who are camping right now in Guwahati, they could be brought back to Mumbai sometime after Wednesday, is what we are picking up.
Well, yes, Shravan, an important information that we have gathered from our sources, specifically now talking about the further course of action from the Shinde camp. Now, when getting a relief from the Supreme Court over the disqualification, what we get to know that the Shinde camp is very much confident enough to come back to Mumbai and approach to the governor, saying that we don't have a confidence on Uddhav Thackeray and we want a floor test. Now at this point of time when Eknath Shinde has the number of 39 MLAs, so that he can go to the floor test, he can ask the governor for the floor test, or also even if there is no approach from Shinde camp or from the BJP or from the any other party, even governor can take a suo motu and call for a floor test. Now what will happen in the floor test? Because we know that Shinde camp is already there is a relief from the Supreme Court, and if even if there is no selection, and we know that Ajay Chaudhary, who is the leader of the Shiv Sena Legislative Assembly, and Sunil Prabhu is the whip chief, even if Shiv Sena issue a whip to the Shiv Sena MLAs asking them to come to the floor and give it a vote to the Mahavikas Aghadi, and even if this 39 does not come to the floor, there will be no action because it's under sub judice, and we know that there is a relief from the disqualification, so they cannot be disqualified, so there will be no action against it. And that is why after getting a relief from the Supreme Court, we know that the high level meeting that is being conducted, that has been held in a Radisson Blue Hotel in Guwahati, and specifically what we have been told by our sources that Eknath Shinde and Shambhu Raje Desai, who is a MOS home and have a very much information, is a very senior leader in the Maharashtra government now, and that is the reason where Eknath Shinde is going to have a discussion with Shambhu Raje Desai what can be the further course of action, and this is what have been said. And importantly, not in this, but even the legalities has been discussed with the topmost lawyer. So this is what information we have been getting, and specifically what even talking about the no confident motion, the sources within the Shinde camp has informed that the letter that was given, the no confidence motion that was issued against Deputy Speaker Narhari Jalwar, and that has been rejected, is something is going to approach, they are going to approach to the governor, clearly stating that Shinde camp has already sent a lawyer. The letter was given in the hand of lawyer, and that lawyer went to Deputy Speaker office, and that has been submitted to the office. Because we remember what was the reason that has been given by Deputy Speaker, saying that the letter has been sent by in an email that was an unknown email, and there were no MLAs that was present. But what we are getting to know that there was a person, there was a lawyer who were asked to go to the Deputy Speaker office, and that has been submitted, and this is going to be brought into the notice of governor soon. Shinde camp is going to send a notice and give a letter over it and give the information about it, that the rejection of the application of a no confident motion is something illegal. Yes.
Well, in fact, Alisha, there's one more big question that comes up at this point in time. How exactly is the Shinde camp going to really dodge the part, if at all there is a whip that is issued by Sunil Prabhu, who is the current, he's been appointed as the chief whip. If a whip has been issued, how exactly do they dodge that?
Well, Shavan, we know that in a petition that has been filed before the Supreme Court, they have clearly stated that they have a number of 38, and they have taken out the support from the Mahavikas Aghadi. If there is a whip that has been issued by the Shiv Sena, if they don't even get present in the floor test, it is completely fine, because no action will be initiated against them according to the Supreme Court order. But what important it is, and that is why where Eknath Shinde is now very much confident, there are series of meeting that has been ongoing in the Radisson Blue in hotel, and what I've informed already that Eknath Shinde is also going to have a one-on-one meeting with Shambhu Raje Desai, so that they can discuss how the things will go, and that is the reason where today is Monday, and they have been planning to come back on Wednesday. Not the every MLA, not the entire team, the 39 MLAs and the 51 in total who are in Guwahati, but the senior leaders are from the Shinde camp. They are going to come to Mumbai, and there could be the possibility of a no confident motion, or they can ask for the floor test. What have been said that even looking after the situation, because now it is a relief from the Supreme Court over the disqualification, because they were only fearing of the disqualification, that action that could have been initiated by the Deputy Speaker, and we saw that the notices that were issued to them, they were asked to reply till today by 5:30, but the Supreme Court has already given them the time till 11th of July. So they can reply till 11th of July. They have a time of 14 days now. So this is a huge time because all they want is a 4-day time to give it a reply. This is what have been mentioned and argued before the court, and but it's not the 4-day, but they have been given a time of 14 days, which is a huge timeline that has been given. Now talking about
Right.
how effective it will be for the Shinde camp if they have been issued with the whip. But yes, as I said, they have been already granted relief over the disqualification, even if the whip has been issued against them, which is, but obviously Sunil Prabhu is going to do that. There he is going to issue a whip to all the 55 Shiv Sena MLAs to vote for the Mahavikas Aghadi and come to the floor and show the majority. But yes, these are the 39 who have been very much confident, and they know that there will be no action will be initiated against them, even if they don't attend the floor test and they don't come in support of the Mahavikas Aghadi. Yes.
Well, in fact, there's absolutely no doubt, Alisha, next 48 hours are going to be extremely crucial. Two big breaking news now coming in. One, a pro tem speaker could be appointed in the next 48 hours. Also, there's a high possibility that the MLAs would return from Guwahati post Wednesday is what we are being told. But in the next 48 hours, in all likelihood, the governor is going to play a very, very crucial role, is what, Alisha, you've been also picking up. It's going to be important to see how exactly does Uddhav's camp now essentially respond. Eknath Shinde's camp is already strategizing as far as the floor test is concerned. They're confident that as far as those numbers are concerned, 39 is what they have with them right now. With more independents coming in, the number could certainly swell, and this is certainly going to be far more easier for Eknath Shinde camp to form the government. Let's move on to the other big story that we have been tracking very closely. This is the other big exclusive tonight. Why exactly has Sanjay Raut now been summoned? In fact, we're getting in latest details with regards to that 1 crore rupees. That's the amount that was, there's a direct transaction that has basically emerged in which Sanjay Raut's wife, her name has essentially emerged. We are being told that the Enforcement Directorate has come across a direct transaction of 1 crore rupees. This was allegedly received by Sanjay Raut's wife, Varsha, and it does not end there. A man goes by the name of Praveen Raut, arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in the past. He is the man who's been handling the money for HDIL as far as the entire land scam goes. In fact, the Enforcement Directorate also suspects that about 100 crore rupees, that's the amount that was basically transferred from the HDIL to the account of Praveen Raut. So the Enforcement Directorate suspects he's the man who's been routing the money. In 2010, part of the alleged crimes, proceeds of the crime amounting to 83 lakh rupees was received by Varsha Raut, wife of Sanjay Raut, directly, indirectly from Madhuri, that's wife of Praveen Raut. This was then utilized for a purchase of flat in Dadar. The amount that you're looking at is 55 lakh rupees that was transferred by Raut to Madhuri Raut. And in fact, there was a land that was basically bought, a flat in Dadar. All of these properties now have been attached by the Enforcement Directorate. Now, will he really appear before the Enforcement Directorate with these allegations that are now being leveled against him? In fact, we've seen a political turn taking place. Aditya Thackeray has already called this a circus. Sanjay Raut is saying that he already has prior commitments, and that is the reason why he's not going to appear before the Enforcement Directorate. Let me go across to my colleague Alisha, who's also been tracking the story along with me for more details on this. Alisha, these are very scathing allegations that have been leveled against Sanjay Raut's family members. In fact, there's already a charge sheet that has been filed by the Enforcement Directorate. Praveen Raut was arrested, but the timing of the summon in all likelihood will be questioned also. Alisha, I'll come to you first and then perhaps also take a reaction coming in from Sanjay Raut as far as the ED summons are concerned.
Well, yes, Shravan, we know that this Patra Chaul case, which is a scam of 1,000.
ये तो बाला साहब ठाकरे की वास्तु है। अगर घर में नोटिस आई होगी तो मैं देख लूँगा। जिस तरह की राजनीतिक हलचल मुंबई में चल रही है, महाराष्ट्र में, देश में चल रही है, तो मुझे पूरा अंदेशा था कि मेरे बारे में मुझे रोकने के लिए, शिवसेना को रोकने के लिए कुछ लोग इकट्ठा आएंगे महाराष्ट्र के खिलाफ और मुझे और मेरे कोई साथी हुए उनको तकलीफ देंगे। लेकिन चाहे आप मुझे कितनी भी तकलीफ दीजिए, मुझे फांसी पर चढ़ाइए, मेरी गर्दन काट लीजिए, मैं गुवाहाटी में जाने वाला नहीं।
देखिए वो गुवाहाटी
क्या
बुला
मैं-
रहे हैं क्या?
गुवाहाटी वालों ने
बुला रहे हैं
दावा-
क्या वो लोग? शिंदे साहब गुवाहाटी बुला रहे हैं क्या आपको? गुवाहाटी आप आइए।
मैं गुवाहाटी जाने वाला नहीं हूँ, मैं आपको बताता हूँ। मैं बाला साहब ठाकरे जी की जो शिवसेना है उनके साथ खड़ा रहूँगा और उनकी साख बचाने के लिए आखिरी सांस तक मैं लड़ता रहूँगा, चाहे मुझे आप गोली मार दो या मुझे जेल डालो।
Alisha, just take us through the details that you're picking up. Why exactly has Sanjay Raut been summoned? What's the case all about? And the latest details that we are accessing from top sources within the Enforcement Directorate about a direct transaction that they have now come across, and they believe it is important that statement of Sanjay Raut is recorded.
Well, yes, Shawan, it's very important to know why Sanjay Raut is being involved with Pravin Raut, because the information that you have managed to access exclusively, which we know that ED has come across a direct transaction of rupees 1 crore, and the money was allegedly received by Sanjay Raut's wife. The ED suspect that money came from arrested accused Pravin Raut. In the case, it's a case of about 1,034 crore where the ED has already filed a ECIR, but there have been link which has been coming in. The more information that we are gathering from sources in ED, which clearly says that Pravin Raut was handling the money received from HDIL. He was very close to, we know that Sarang and Rakesh Wadhwan, the main accused in PMC bank scam. So he was in contact with them, and there were also around 100 crore that were transferred from HDIL to the account of the arrested accused Pravin Raut. But looking into the matter, and of course there is a question that has been arised during at this point of time, when we know that the Maharashtra political crisis that has been already ongoing, and at this point of time when Sanjay Raut has been summoned. But yes, the reason has already been given to the Enforcement Directorate. It is clearly stated that the legal team of the Sanjay Raut who is going to go for before the Enforcement Directorate tomorrow, and they're going to ask for the exemption, stating that Sanjay Raut has some commitment in Alibag. There are some of the public meeting which he has already committed during this point of time. So he has to be present in Alibag for those for the public meeting, and that is the reason where he could not be able to join the probe. He could not be able to record a statement. Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Alisha, for getting us the latest details on why exactly Sanjay Raut has now been summoned. Let's move to the other big exclusive that we are getting for you tonight. This is with regards to activist Tista Setalvad. Now, an Ahmedabad court remanded activist Tista Setalvad and the former Gujarat DGP R.B. Srikumar in police custody till 2nd of July in a case related to fabricating evidence to frame innocents in connection with the 2002 Gujarat riots. Now, the prosecution has sought a 14-day custody of the duo. We've accessed certain documents that have been linked to Javed Ahmed versus State of Gujarat case, which mentions that Tista and the company did not cooperate with the probe and misled the probe despite the assurance in the Supreme Court. Let's take you through some of the documents that have been accessed by our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor. We're being told that these are documents that establish the scripted nature of the affidavits. If you remember, the Supreme Court essentially indicated that there was an attempt that was made to fabricate the evidence. Signed and stamped 2010 testimony on how exactly Tista forged the victim statements. There is a former aide who basically claims that Tista emailed those affidavits and also got them signed. Now, that's the level of fabrication that has essentially taken place. In fact, the aide goes on to say that the victims were asked to give names based on their enmity. Witnesses uneducated, but statements are essentially in English. So the question is, how exactly were the statements in English if they were not literate? Their former aide also goes on to say that Tista is extremely influential and could do anything with the help of the central government. In fact, the help that Tista allegedly received from the UPA government has also come under the scanner. Remember, all of this now part of the SIT that has been formed by the Gujarat government. We'll try and go across to Abhishek Kapoor, who's got the details of the documents. Abhishek, just take us through those exclusive documents that have been accessed by you. In fact, a lot of questions essentially being raised about the magnitude of this crime. The fact that there are forged statements, there are forged signatures, and also the fact that some of them were completely illiterate, but their statements were recorded in English.
Well, yes, Shawan. So I can tell you what from where these documents come. So, for example, some come from the courts, some come from the Gujarat police, from the Ahmedabad crime branch, which has been carrying out investigation on misappropriation of funds by Tista. Some come from the Supreme Court documents, some come from annexures, and these are telling documents insofar as the clout Tista wielded during that period between 2004 and 2014, the 10 years of the UPA government in Delhi, when Tista carried out her activism on the Gujarat riots in Gujarat. And for example, if you go through this affidavit, which is filed by former close aide of Tista, Rais Khan, in which he details, because he was a field coordinator and working for Tista, he details with great clarity about how the instructions came from Tista on the affidavits. Essentially, they would come by email. He will have to take a printout, go to the witnesses and get them signed. And the discrepancies that emerged subsequently through court documents, it comes out that these witnesses, the testimonies which were written by Tista on behalf of them, were very different from actual facts on the ground, what happened during the riots, to the extent that these witnesses themselves called the bluff of Tista. We have a document, for example, Shawan, and if I could just give a brief on one witness and a victim by the name of Madina bin Pathan. Now, for example, in the affidavit or the testimony that Tista created on her behalf and submitted to the Nanavati Commission, submitted to the SIT, submitted to various courts, submitted even to some NGOs and international organizations abroad, for which Tista got some awards. She, in the affidavit on behalf of Madina, said that Madina was raped. But when Madina went to the SIT and was asked to depose, she said no, she was not raped. And there are...
We're getting in some more breaking news right now. BJP has ruled out all possible efforts of reconciliation with Uddhav Thackeray. The latest details that we are picking up. Doors are now closed for Uddhav Thackeray as far as an alliance with the BJP is concerned. In fact, we are being told the BJP in all likelihood will be claiming the support of close to 170 MLAs. That's big. It's way beyond the magic number. No point of reconciliation with the Thackerays right now. BJP essentially saying that their relationship is done and dusted. In fact, if there is anything that is left, then perhaps Uddhav Thackeray can find ways for it. But clearly, right now, they're saying that there is no room for any sort of negotiation with Uddhav Thackeray. As far as Eknath Shinde is concerned, whether at all there would be a need to merge with any party, sources essentially indicating that there is no need for Eknath Shinde to merge with any particular party at this point in time. Some more details that we are picking up right now. These are the latest details that we are getting in with regards to this entire development that's taking place after the petitions that were heard in the Supreme Court. A massive boost that the Eknath Shinde camp has got right now. So this is how, in all likelihood, it's going to play out in the next few days. The governor will be basically calling in for a floor test that is going to take place. In fact, BJP in all likelihood is going to make the demand for a Pro Tem Speaker to be appointed as soon as possible. There is a high possibility that post Wednesday, the MLAs who are currently camping in Guwahati, they could come back. Right now, BJP has ruled out any merger with Eknath Shinde. If you remember, Devdas Kamath, who's been representing the Maharashtra government, has essentially cited the 10th schedule by indicating that if at all that they want to go ahead, then Eknath Shinde and the MLAs will have to merge with the Bharatiya Janata Party. Essentially something that Eknath Shinde has been trying to rule out. In fact, now this is a massive claim that has been made. BJP is essentially indicating that they would be getting about 170 plus MLAs if there is a floor test that is going to take place. Slipping into a short break. On the other side, we'll continue getting you more details of the pot boiler in Maharashtra.
A victory in court. Shinde camp goes for the kill. Decks cleared for a floor test now. At 7 p.m. on the biggest story tonight.
Stopping fire from spreading is difficult, but not impossible. Now with firewall technology, Century Ply saves you from fire.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university for 9 years by India Today Universities rankings, a testimony to Amity's world-class quality.
मला असं वाटतं की अजून या गोष्टीवरती कोणी ठामपणे काय सांगू शकत नाही. फ्लोअर ऑफ द हाऊसला जी परीक्षा होती त्या परीक्षेमध्ये आम्ही चांगल्या प्रकारे उत्तीर्ण होऊ याची मला खात्री आहे. जसं मी म्हटलं की रोड टेस्ट आणि फ्लोअर टेस्ट दोन्हीसाठी आम्ही तयार आहोत.
देखो एक बात बताएं, आप घर को चौपट करके चौपाटी पे चिल्ला रहे हैं. अब घर बच नहीं रहा है, मोहल्ले में शोर मचा रहे हैं, चौपाटी भी शोर मचा रहे हैं कि बचाओ बचाओ बचाओ. और वही एक है ना कि अपनों पे जुल्म गैरों पे करम, और गैरों के भरोसे ये टिके हुए हैं कि हमारी सरकार कितने दिन बचेगी. तो मुझे लगता है पहले घर बचाना चाहिए, फिर चौपाटी में शोर मचाना चाहिए.
जो भी कुछ महाराष्ट्र के अंदर हो रहा है उसके लिए सिर्फ भारतीय जनता पार्टी जिम्मेदार है. भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने कितने एमएलए के खिलाफ ईडी को इस्तेमाल कर रखा है. आसाम के अंदर बीजेपी की सरकार है, गुजरात में उनकी सरकार है. उन एमएलए को गुजरात और आसाम के अंदर रख रखा है. उनका जो लीडर है उसे चार्टर्ड प्लेन से कभी दिल्ली बुलाया जाता है, कभी वडोदरा बुलाया जाता है. तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी लोकतंत्र के साथ खुला खिलवाड़ कर रहा.
Border Security Force has foiled an attempt of Pakistan to push in intruder into the Indian territory, and the Pakistani intruder has been neutralized in the Araspura sector of Jammu international border. After noticing a suspected movement along the international border, BSF challenged that movement, but when the intruder didn't stop, BSF fired upon it. 3 rounds were fired on the Pakistani intruder, after which he was killed by the BSF. Pertinent to mention that this attempt from Pakistan came 48
A massive claim now being made. BJP in all likelihood would be claiming the support of 170 plus MLAs, and now another MLA, Rahul Ved Prakash, has defected is what we are being told. In fact, there is movement coming in from the Surat airport. In all likelihood, Rahul Ved Prakash Patil, a Shiva Sena legislator, in all likelihood is en route to Guwahati. That's going to swell the numbers that is already being claimed by Eknath Shinde. Well above 40 is what we are given to understand.
Border Security Force has foiled an attempt of Pakistan to push in intruder into the Indian territory, and the Pakistani intruder has been neutralized in the Araspura sector of Jammu international border. After noticing a suspected movement along the international border, BSF challenged that movement, but when the intruder didn't stop, BSF fired upon it. 3 rounds were fired on the Pakistani intruder, after which he was killed by the BSF. Pertinent to mention that this attempt from Pakistan came 48 hours before the start of the Amarnath Yatra from Jammu, and there are credible inputs with the security agencies that Pakistan will try to scuttle the Amarnath Yatra by carrying out a major terror strike on the Yatra, and the security agencies were already on the alert. Now, the intensified searches have been launched in the area. Senior officials of the BSF, they are reaching the spot to review the counterinsurgency grid that is in place. With Sarjeevan Kumar, Gursimran Singh for Republic Media Network.
I think it will be a positive one, because the decisions taken and the notices given by the Deputy Speaker was in itself illegal. A minority group cannot give a whip to a majority group.
उनकी खरीद फरोख्त और किडनैपिंग में अपना दिमाग लगाते हैं, तो ये एक अलग प्रकार की सरकार, मोदी सरकार चल रही है, जहां पे विधायकों के किडनैपिंग का एक गिरोह बन गया है, सरकारों को गिराने का एक गिरोह बन गया है, किसी भी तरीके से इन प्रकार लोकतंत्र की हत्या करके सत्ता हासिल करनी है.
देखेंगे अब वो जो कोर्ट का क्या फैसला होगा उसका इंतजार करेंगे. वो फैसला आने के बाद अब जो चीजें आगे जो भी समीकरण बनेगा उससे जो तीनों पार्टियां मिलकर कदम उठाएंगे.
And in other news, Prime Minister Modi attends G7 summit in Munich, Germany to address 2 sessions and hold bilateral meetings with top world leaders.
That's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive. On the other side, live and breaking with Abhishek Kapoor as we get you the latest news of another legislator now en route to Guwahati.
Thank you so much, Shawan. In fact, that's Parbhani MLA Rahul Patil. And we are told that he would be heading to Surat and from there to Guwahati, joining the rebel ranks. But before that, we have the headlines for 6:30 p.m. live and breaking. Top court admits case, issues notice. All sides required to file counter affidavits within 5 days. Supreme Court stays decision on disqualification of Shinde camp MLAs.